in a way anime, because there's hardcore people that love original dub voices and don't like the translations, but there was no translation in this series. It's famously known for doing what you want. Can you talk to me about just getting the role of polyester, the iconic polyester?
Well, getting the role, the director, voice director was Mr. Tim Reed. He's the one started me and a lot of other Montreal voiceover artists out in the business. And he gave us pretty much free reign to create something. But I knew that polyester was very much, very, very, of course, into the martial arts, very active, being a samurai. So I gave her a little bit rasp in the voice, which tends to happen naturally with me anyway. So I raised her age range and gave her a little texture because she's sort of tomboyish, Yeah, come on, guys. Hey, let's go. So I thought I would do that with her. And Tim Reed said, "Oh, I like where you're going with that," and he just kept it going. So we have him to thank for that. He was a really open-minded, very great guy. He's deceased now, but much love to his family if they're listening.
Oh, that's amazing. All right. So, everybody, every hero's journey starts with a single step, or in your case, a single word. Tell me how you got into voice acting. Because you're a singer, you're a great talker, you're a wonderful human being, but all that has to come together somehow. How did one become a voice actor? What bring me back to that day, that moment?
Okay, yes. Well, I was a singer, professional singer for years since I'm 11 years old. I was with a band one night. We were playing at the Sheraton Hotel downtown Montreal. And it was one of the musicians in the band, I think it was the bass player. I started to do some voices because, when you're raised by two parents who are zany maniacs, you have a tendency to absorb this. So I would just do all these accents and voices in between sets, right? And so the bass player said, "Hey, you should audition for CNR Film. Get yourself a voiceover agent because you're good and all that stuff." So I kind of actually followed his advice. And that led to my getting an agent in Montreal who sent me for auditions at CNR Film. And the next thing you know, I was doing a show called, I played a character called Brownie Bits. Brownie Bit. I can't remember the name of the show. I think it was called Little Bits. Anyways,
that's clever. Little bits. I like it.
Little Bits. And anyway, so I played a character in that, and that led to, I guess they were happy with my work. And I had taken a dubbing workshop, which is really important in talking about Samurai Pizza Cats, because the whole dubbing phenomenon, it really, Montreal had it under lock and key for a little while because we had a certain type of dubbing procedure that we were able to do in Montreal. We got a lot of work from all over the world dubbing, motion pictures, live action motion picture into English. And so the dubbing technique started here, but I digress. Where the hell was I to start with? I went off on a tangent. But anyway, so
that's not a tangent. This is history in the making, man. Okay? You are damn important to this show and this country and this genre. You tell me everything. If you farted that day, I want to know about it, Sonja. There are no tangents on this show.
Audience, I just want to say Ryan's great. He showed appreciation for us voiceover underdogs that are seldom even seen or heard from. So it's very nice that Ryan's doing this. Great.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to have you on the show because, frankly, Wikipedia and both IMDb have done you wrong, especially when it comes to Pizza Cats. Pizza Cats is an anomaly. I had to do research in sketchy dark alleys and odd parts of the. No, not really, but to find out that you were the voice of Polyester, I had to go through a few hoops, and then when you find that, you find out about Terrence and Rick, and it's crazy. So since we're on that note, can you tell me who the actors were in Samurai Pizza Cats and the world? Because frankly, Wikipedia, you should know better.
Okay. Well, okay. So Sonja Ball played Polyester Pussycat, and we have Terrence Scammell who played Guido and narrated. did that fabulous narration voice for
Oh
that show.
yes, I love that guy.
Yeah, and so cool. And then we had Rick Jones as Speedy. We had Pauline Little as Francine. We had Susan Glover as Lucille. We had Dean Hagopian, good friend of mine, lives just about an hour away, was the Big Cheese, our villain in the show. Uh, trying to remember everybody that's we're talking over 30 years ago, but
that
that's about, yeah.
That's pretty good. That is more information than I was able to acquire without fighting a bear. Okay, like seriously, we're let the figure. I wouldn't actually fight a bear; he would win. But just the equivalent of the difficulty of finding out research on this show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Liz McRae was in the show too. Forgive me, I don't remember the character, but my good friend Liz McRae, she's a wonderful voice actress. She was also in the show. AJ Henderson was in the show as well. Yeah.
Oh, amazing! I'm just
And
gonna.
we've all done a lot of work together over the years, you know.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
pulling up your little credit right there, so everybody knows your lovely name, Sonja Ball. Okay, so getting back to the interview here. Sorry, I wear many hats. I do many things, everyone. I'm pushing buttons. I'm listening. I'm having fun. The
Yeah.
coffee's just kicking in. It's a good day. um, all right,
You're a
so
one-man show, Ryan.
oh,
Good for you, man.
yeah, a jack of all trades and a master of
Okay.
none. Okay, so I'm sure a question on everyone's mind is this is a very like zany show and the humor is just off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
What was the process of dubbing like? Explain to everyone who's unfamiliar with the dubbing process how exactly does it
Yes.
work? A lot of them know, but a lot of them don't. So let's talk about the
Okay.
difficulty and the mastery that you have both of your mouths, your speed, your tempo, and everything.
Right,
Let's hear it.
right. Okay, so what happens is we get the film. It's projected on a large screen. We're all in a sound booth. Usually the engineer's on the other side of the glass. Sometimes he's right in the room with you. And we have a large screen. The show is projected onto the screen, and underneath the screen is what we call the Rhythmic Band. So it's the dialogue running across a lit screen, a band that runs under the main screen where the show's being projected. Now there's a bar. When a word hits that bar, that's when we as actors have to sync and begin to say the word as the first letter of each word hits the bar. Now that sounds very technical, and it is. There are arrows indicating when to inhale, arrows indicating when to exhale, etc. So the art is to keep your character, keep the feeling, say the humor in an animation type show, at the same time as mastering this very technical procedure of matching the words to the character's lips by saying the word as it hits the bar underneath the screen. So that's the process of dubbing. It may sound technical, but I
It
thought,
sounds so hard.
well, you know what? It takes a little bit of practice, but after a few shows, you do fall into the rhythm and still be able to maintain the acting skill required as well as the technical part.
So you were mentioning the other day we did a little pre-interview because Sonia is amazing, and you were mentioning that you, Terrence, and Rick, all three Samurai Pizza Cats, you guys worked on a lot of things together, not just this. You were, you are the
Yeah.
you were the go-tos. They're like, we have a weird cat show. Let's give it to the trio of awesome, the Trinity, the voice Trinity.
Well, I have to say, like, the voice pool in Montreal for many years was not that big. So there were a handful of us, and I guess those that were able to be the most versatile and maybe play multiple roles in the same show, we were able to, to get more shows on the go. We were hired a lot, and it did turn out to be Rick Jones, Terrence Scammell, myself, and some other wonderful actors as well. It wasn't just a trio, but the three of us were hired a hell of a lot for a couple of decades, to do various things. But I give full credit to all my other actor friends who are absolutely fantastic, and I learned a lot from. Yeah.
Amazing. I was spreading the word around, getting the word out there and stuff like that. I can't believe this is happening, Sonia. Like, When I first started the show many years ago, the very idea, there's a few people I really wanted to talk to, and like Pizza Cats. I just want to say this whole show, this episode is dedicated to my friend Marlon. Marlon and me, we've known each other since we were 9 years old. And the topic of the school yard every single day was, did you see Samurai Pizza Gas last night? I'm like, oh, they added another guy. He had a rocket, and your guy had a buzzsaw. And so it's just kind of surreal to be talking with someone. When I found out that that the Samurai Pizza Cats were all Montreal voice actors, my head and everyone else's head, I know, exploded because animation is very mysterious. You know, you're not really supposed to see somebody, but now in recent years, the curtain's been pulled back, and we're starting to learn that this person was this person, and that person, and that person, and a voice actor is allowed to have more than one job. And you've had tons of jobs. In fact, a big part of the show, and everybody who's watching this will be screaming at me. They're like, you also played, and I'll bring it up right here. You also played Arthur's mom. You know, and that's huge. Arthur was a huge show. Tell me about Arthur's mom. You know, you're a crime-fighting pussycat, and now you're an endearing, lovable figure. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know, I got to admit to you, it was one of the more difficult roles I did. Getting zany and doing funny, silly voices is very easy, but to play a real mom, kind of straighter role, but still make it entertaining, that was not that easy for me, believe it or not. But yeah, no, that show just garnered so much success and a lot of awards, and I believe it won the Emmy for Best Daytime Television Show for Children for something like 5 years in a row, and it ran for a decade or two. So I'm proud to have been a part of it. Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. A lot of people who grew up with Arthur, it's like, you know, a happy place. And thank you very much for doing this today, because we're in a little bit of a strange time, and people are kind of looking to the past to cheer themselves up, because the present's a little strange. The present, arguably, not arguably, is a little strange at the moment, you know? So,
yeah, sure.
So I wanted to talk to you about a role you did. I'm going to put it up right here, image-wise. I thought it was very cool that you were on this Little Mermaid show, Saban's Little Mermaid. And not only did you star as the Little Mermaid herself, but you also starred as her nemesis, you know? Like,
yeah.
What's that like? You know, recording, kind of talking to yourself, two shades of the coin, pure innocent light versus darkness.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, you know, I think people that do voiceover work, you know, there has to be sort of a built-in natural tendency to be able to identify with different characters, and you have to be able to be silly enough to act out different roles in the same episode. You know, I did a show called Troll, A Tale of a Tale, and I actually had to play 5 different characters in that, and it was everything from the perfect mom to a sinister. I played a giant frog that spoke with a New York accent and had a totally different voice. I think that's something you're able to do naturally. I don't think there's acting lessons for such a thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's in your personality to be able to identify and be silly and imitate and to do that kind of thing, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So with Little Mermaid, that was a part of that process, doing those 2 different characters. Yeah.
I think it's a pretty cool show. It was obviously kind of produced so they could be like, hey, The Little Mermaid is the most popular movie in the world. Someone somewhere has made a Little Mermaid cartoon. But, at the same time, this is like, you know, it's a longer story. It's a different story, and it was very cool. I like the approach to it. So that's what I love about doing the show and research and all that. It allows me to finally, you know, watch stuff because I want to know slightly what I'm talking about when I talk to somebody. Bring me to. I saw this movie advertised in a metro everywhere for quite a while, and I'm a lifelong Pinocchio fan, and I really need to get on this. But tell me about Pinocchio 3000. That's like such a familiar tale set in a very, very different way.
Yes, totally. Yes, certainly contemporized, and I believe that was a Cine Group production. if memory serves me. And I had a lot of fun playing the character. I was a little boy, so I had to put my head into the character of a little boy, and it was with Whoopi Goldberg was the fairy godmother.
Whoopi.
Yeah, and it was great. I mean, I wish we could have been in the same room, but she recorded wherever she was at the time, probably LA or New York or somewhere, and I recorded here in Montreal, and it was an honor to play, opposite her. And I think it was an interesting show. It was well done in its own way. I kind of am a little bit of a softie for the old Walt Disney stuff. I tend to sometimes go that way. So that I don't know how many people actually preferred it to the old original version. I think it's hard not to prefer the old original version. And forgive me, City Group, but But Whoopi did an amazing job. She was just terrific as a fairy godmother. So that was an interesting spin on that character.
You also played more Pinocchio characters, I believe in about 2012 or so. You played the fox in this other Pinocchio cartoon that just looks great because it's like kind of like an old take on Pinocchio, like, of the older takes of Pinocchio, a nice classic tale. And you played the fox in that. What was your experience like, playing, as opposed to playing Pinocchio? What was it like playing the people that screw with Pinocchio?
Probably even more fun. It's always great fun doing the villains and the bad guys and the real off the wall characters. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Brian. I've done so much work over 30 some odd years that I don't recall that particular character, to be honest. But it's always fun playing the bad guy.
Well, I haven't. So if you want to know what it's like to play a junkie patient on the on the transplant, you let me know. I will tell you every freaking detail of it. All right, so getting back to Samurai Pizza Cats, I really want to bring up something, and forgive me. I am not good with pronouncing names of cosplayers and stuff like that. Sometimes there's many different letters, so I just don't. I don't want to ever say something wrong. But I want to bring up this image. I was doing some research on Instagram, and I came across this, and you can see their handle. Make sure you follow them, everybody. And they're on my face right now. There you go. Okay. This picture is just insane. It's the picture I showed you before of the full-bodied cosplayer Speedy Stavici. It is just insane. I was so impressed. Like, that is just insane. What do you think of your worldwide fandom that this show has? I mean, seriously, like, please.
You know what's really cool? What's really cool about like the following that it's garnered with certain folk is it's the humor. It's so apparently that show, and I just found this out very recently actually, that the original Japanese scripts were not really used much as a guide to the English translation. So the writers had to write everything. Basically, all the concept for the show and the humor is really North American writers to grabbing hold of that show and making it their own and interjecting a lot of gag dub approach humor, which is like you translate it and you build in your own jokes. You kind of ad lib with the thing because you don't have the original script. Whether it was just lost in the mail or the Japanese producers and directors just said, look, make it a North American, put that American humor into it. So really the writers are credited for making the show as funny as it is. It's so glib. It's so cool that way. And I think that's the reason for the success of the show is the right.
Yeah, please. Yeah, sorry.
No.
Okay. As a lifelong fan of this series, hang on, I'm just gonna kill this photo. There you go. Woohoo! As a lifelong fan of this show, I gotta say that I find it funnier now than I did when I was like 9. Like I think it's even funnier. It is so on the nose. It is anime's answer to Monty Python. Like there is so much and Deadpool even. There's so much self-referential, fourth wall breaking humor. It specializes in fourth wall breaking. It starts where you see the sky and someone on a set is saying, "Could you please cue the bird?" And the bird
Yeah,
flies
yeah,
by.
yeah.
Oh my God, the amount of joy that I got doing research for this interview, having to watch all these shows, was fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about your characteristics as Polly. I thought a very rewatching it now, especially in today's climate where they're trying to like really update themselves about things. Um, I thought it was super cool that every woman on that show was in charge. The guys were just bumbling idiots, but Polyester, Speedy was the leader
Yeah.
of the Pizza Cats, but Polly was in charge of the Pizza Cats. Totally.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
you thought it. Yeah. I guess it was kind of ahead of its time in terms of giving women a bigger a role, a very an action oriented role for back then, I just thought it was terrific. We got to have a lot of fun, just hoo-yah, and lots of the martial arts stuff, and yeah, she's a strong woman, and the woman characters in the show they are very strong.
Yeah. Yeah, even to the point where Susan Glover, who plays Lucille, whenever
Right.
she's upset, would release a collection of missiles blowing up and harming everyone around her. It's kind of interesting. So a little bit about the character Polly. I came across this episode. I believe it's kind of a two-parter. It really is the last episode of the series where there's a comet coming towards Earth and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, it seems that Speedy and Polly have this love story. And I was like, where the hell did that come from? Did you feel the same way where you're just kind of like, wait, we're in love now? Ah, whatever.
Yeah, I kind of was, yeah, for sure. But it was kind of funny that they built that into the show, the love interest stuff. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So tell me about like you've known Rick and Terrence forever and stuff like that, and I know you weren't recording in the same room, but when did
We
when?
were,
Oh, you
we
were.
were,
Oh my God.
yeah,
Yes.
back. Yes, I know, it's crazy. Back then, a lot of the lead characters,
This
or
is
if we were all in the same scene, we
this is
would
it.
record in the same studio.
Yeah.
But that changed as the years went by.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what happened and why, to be quite honest with you, but
Yeah.
like I mentioned, Whoopi Goldberg being on the other side of the country, or Mary Tyler Moore being on the other side of the country, and then we're recording here in Montreal. Even just here at home with Montreal actors, they would group the sessions so that most of the time we're on our own now,
Wow.
which is, and it's kind of weird because you're imagining how the other actor might interpret their character and their lines, and we just have to kind of answer or retort, pretending that they're in the room. So it's another thing. But we had a ball, Rick, Terrence, and myself, and sometimes, well, Dean Hagopian, actually, the Big Cheese, he recorded his lines mostly separately. But Rick and Terry and myself, because we played the three main characters, we were often in the same room together. And it's fun because you can bounce off each other, you feed off each other's energy. It's great fun. Anyone out there who would like to try dubbing, I say, oh, you go ahead. Voiceover work is a riot. It's really a riot,
That's
especially in the animation field.
that's so interesting because my buddy Toby Proctor, Tuxedo Mask, and everyone else who did all this dubbing, it's very rare when you're doing dubbing for anime or voice over just opposed to voice acting, which is art in itself, as Sonia has displayed before. Is that they always talk about how isolating it is. Like you're in a room by yourself, get the thing right, and then get out, and the art person takes over. That explains why the three of you had so much chemistry, and that this show, unlike other shows of the anime form, uh, I don't think comedy like that could have worked if you guys weren't around to kind of feel each other's beats. So were you in the room when Terrence was doing all those amazing narrations too?
He would have recorded that separately on his own. But when all the action sequences, with the three characters, when it was time to record that, we were together much of the time.
Oh my God. Well, okay, so That's crazy though. Wow. I'm really everyone out there. So like, are you drinking coffee? Yes, I am. But not only that, that is so interesting to me because I've done a lot of interviews and it's always kind of like, what was it like working with them? They're like, I don't know. they
Yeah, well,
recorded.
they're right.
They
Yeah, a
record.
lot of it, especially now. But now we're going back to the 1990s, right? So it was a few years ago, and no, we recorded a lot of the times in the same room.
It,
Yeah, and I think if you spoke to any actor doing voice work, who's done voice work over the years, they would tell you they prefer it that way too, to
uh,
be in together in the same room.
amazing.
Technically you have to be quiet while the other actor's doing their lines. Backing in and out off away from the mic is an issue. But it's not impossible to do, and I think most of us prefer it that way.
That's incredible. All right, a
Yeah,
little bit more into the Pizza Cats.
great.
We're gonna be answering some fan questions soon. If you have any questions, make sure you write it in the feed. Write it in the feed here. I'm gonna be looking. I'm also gonna be looking at the questions that you have asked prior. But I just needed to ask all these because, well, gosh darn it, I just needed to. My buddy Marlon asked me a question that I want to ask you. How do you go about preparing for a voice acting role? Like, do you see the picture and just kind of picture the voice in your head, or do you go kind of loose, being like, I have a little bit of an idea, but then they throw you a curveball and you're like, got it, and here's it right back.
Well, in Montreal, and meeting the directors I've worked with is they give you a chance to, they'll say, well, what do you hear for this character? So if you're in the audition process, you're going to deliver what you think, that you'll have some indication. They'll say, this is approximately the age, or we want texture, or we don't, we want an accent, or we don't, or we'll get gigs. Don't forget there's dubbing with the screen with the picture and the characters there, and you get to see what they look like. So you can kind of like create something that you feel fits the picture. Or if it's original voice work, then you're going to create something according to a written description that you're given. So, you come back to the director with your interpretation of either or, and they'll give you some guidelines as to what they feel you might be missing. Well, can you make her older? Can you make her deeper? Can you give her some more attitude? And so like that, you work with the director to give the producers what they're looking for.
Awesome. Non-person human on YouTube is asking. They asked a few things, but I'm going to ask this one. First of all, everyone says they hear birds singing. Well, why do birds suddenly appear every time that you are near is a result to this beautiful woman and the lyrical metaphors that come out of the TV and manifest itself into reality. That is the answer of why there's birds singing. Number two, number
I have
two.
a budgie.
Okay. Oh, that's a shorter, less fun answer, but whatever. All right. They're asking, hey, do you have any cats of your own? Considering you played one.
Oh yeah. Oh well, I've had lots of cats over the years, but not at present. I just have a tiny little Chiweenie that's half a Chihuahua, half a Dachshund dog.
Oh, that's so cute.
I, I love cats.
That's like that's like two dogs where they're like, hey, you know what? Two dogs are cute, dachshunds and chihuahuas. Why don't we step it up
Yeah,
and
yeah,
make
yeah,
it
yeah.
and make a super being of cuteness that almost makes people vomit from the fluffy vibes
The
that you
fluffy
get.
cuteness.
The fluffy
If you want,
cuteness.
do you want to see her, Ryan?
Sure. Let's do
Okay, one
this.
sec.
Let's
Wait, I'm
do
gonna get my
this.
Chiweenie. Hang on.
We're going to find out what a Chewini is, everybody. If you have questions for Sonja Ball here, make sure you ask them in the chat and stuff like that. We'll do our best to see everything. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to look at. And I am a one-man operation. In the meantime, as we're
Here.
waiting, it's a doggy. Oh, hi, sweetie. Oh, I love the tongue. Look at this. Look at this, sweetheart. What's the
So
name of
for
it?
all the animal lovers out there, I got a budgie flying around the house, and I got my little Chiweenie right here.
Oh, that's
So there
amazing.
we go.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's great.
Okay.
All right. So, a little before we get on with the fan questions, I have a little question. When did you guys realize that this show was not just like another show you did, but like something of a worldwide cult phenomenon? Because I knew it was
Right.
amazing right off the bat because it was made for me. But when did you guys know? Oh, damn, this pizza cat thing's kind of a big deal.
Well, a couple of years went by and someone said to me, that there's a whole whack of cult. It's got a cult following in New Zealand. I said, really? And then from there, it kind of spread. Now, when you go in to do a show, you don't realize the impact it may or may not be having on groups of viewers. So I was delighted, but surprised in a sense, not because I didn't get the humor, because don't forget, we had shows back in my era, right? We had shows like Rocky and Bullwinkle. We spoofed a lot of things. Warner Brothers had amazing shows and characters that spoofed a lot of things. But the younger viewers, see, I think Samurai Pizza Cats was a kind of a glimpse into our past as young people, because some of the humor was taken from that era and put into the writing of Samurai Pizza Cats. So in a way, it was a surprise to me because I already was used to that humor in some older shows from my era. So, but the fact that it's still, that type of humor still holds true for viewers like today is amazing to me. That's great.
That's awesome. So New Zealand, our first one. Oh, that's crazy. I'm guessing it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful day. Right before I get to these fan questions, because I totally got lost in what you were saying and I didn't even look for them. I was just like, tell me more about this worldwide phenomenon. I gotta say, like, there was only one series. Did you record them all like at once, or was it pushed for multiple seasons? Because there's about 60 episodes, or 50, 60 episodes. So that's a lot of work to do at once.
Yeah, we used to do a few episodes in one sitting. I can't remember if it was 3 or 5, but we would do a whack. We booked the studio would be booked for several hours that day. And yeah, we'd record a whack of episodes all at once.
Oh, great.
Because, yeah.
No, please continue. Like that must have been like
no,
long hours and stuff like that,
it's
right?
kind of good like that too, because you get into the flow of the character, the pacing of the show, the humor, and then you're all set up to do a few more, and they're only 20-minute shows, 20 minutes something. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, each character's not in every scene. So you're able to cover a lot of episodes in one booking.
Yeah, I also noticed that like it was one of the first shows where I kind of noticed, even following the Power Rangers formula. Oh, well, Power Rangers would follow it, where it's just like when it's super time, you're gonna have the same 30 to 40 to minute in each and every episode. Like they got to put on their super suits and they got to shoot in this direction and stuff like that. So I'm like, that's a clever use of redundancy to really make sure you capitalize on how many episodes you can make in something.
Yeah.
Using, yeah. Is there a particular like fond memory of recording that you can tell everybody, like a fun behind the scenes thing, considering you were all in the same room and all three of you were homies?
Well, what was kind of cute is because I was the shortest one. Rick Jones and Terry are tall men, and I'm only 5 feet. So what was kind of cute is I would stand up on a little soapbox, and the boys would squat. They'd have to spread their legs and kind of squat down in order to do the recording. And we just had a lot of fun between us all as actors. It was just a hoot to be in the same room with other zany madcap actors and do the show. The humor was great. We had a ball doing it. I can't really pick out, like, say, one particular episode or what have you. I think Dean Hagopian's version of Paul Lynde's voice was particularly fun to listen to and to act to because he had it down so well. Yeah, it was just, generally speaking, a load of fun.
Oh, that's great. I'm thrilled because we posted about this episode a few times. We had to reschedule it to a Sunday, which in turn I think was a great idea because I have all this like fresh energy that's not disposed throughout the day and stuff like that. So I'm having even more fun than usual, which is hard to believe because I'm a man wearing a very loud jacket. But that's that. We got a whole bunch of comments that I really want to talk to you about.
Mhm.
This guy Peter said it was my first actual anime. I love that show. Isaac says, "Is it true they lost the script for the first couple of episodes where they all improvised?" We touched upon that. They definitely had to
Yeah.
work with what they got,
Mhm.
and as a result, that's why it's so unique, uniquely hilarious.
Because the writers had free reign basically
Yeah,
to create, yeah, I think it was kind of a gift.
that's fantastic. Okay, now we got some more questions. It's just like, oh, Jimmy says I have such fond memories of that Samurai Pizza Cats and late night pizza as a child. That's true. They used to show the show either very early or very late sometimes, but YTV was showing it for years. It wasn't one run. They'd keep showing it again and again. So that's interesting. Did you ever catch the show when it was on the air at all?
No, and I told this to Ryan, we had a little talk just before the show, and, I don't even have television hookup at my house. So I never got to see a lot of these things. And like I was saying to Ryan, sometimes as voice actors, you go in, you record a show, and then you just on to the next new series. Or so we don't really, I mean, I hate to admit that to the fans. Like I should have deep, intense knowledge of every episode. I have none. I
No.
have just recall.
It's okay if you knew if given look, you have over 100 credits on IMDb. If you spent day and night listening to yourself, that there would be definitely some sort of mental illness um, attached to that if you were that vain.
Thank
But
you for your understanding, Ryan.
I think it's a form of success if you actually haven't had enough. It's not like you stuck your nose out at it and said, better than my time as a pizza cat. I am a thespian. I am an actor." It's like no,
I am an actor.
it's
Yeah.
just like no, there's 60 episodes of Pizza Cats. I barely had time to watch all of them. It's it is what it is. But
Yeah, but I do recall having a blast. And I think it's that energy that comes through the show, that everybody gave to the show because it was fun to do.
my friend Nadia, lovely person. I adore Nadia. She's amazing. She says, "How much fun was it doing Arthur's mom?" Both shows she's watched a lot and they're amazing, but Arthur's mom, we touched a little bit
Yeah.
upon there. But can Arthur? Do you still do Arthur's mom's voice and stuff like that?
Oh, yes, because she's really basically me. Arthur,
Aw,
DW, honey. Yeah, no, it was, well, you're more mom and a little bit straighter. And I really enjoyed doing the show because I worked with, again, a whack of great actors. Bruce Dinsmore, who lives right in my town right here. He played Arthur's father. And it wasn't difficult per se, but I was so used to doing zany off the wall stuff that I had to just come in a little bit and be a mom. So yeah, I was probably one of my more challenging roles, believe it or not, because I know it's not a zany off the wall type character, but some of us prefer that because that's what's inside of us to bring to a character.
we
So I hope that answers your question.
the mom's face is on my face right now, and I just be like, "Now
Yeah.
you listen here, Arthur." That's not her voice, but
Pretty close.
yeah. Okay, so you've had this insane career. You've done so many things. Is there kind of like any like character you look back on and just say like like in your Rolodex when you meet somebody and you're like, and or someone's introducing you and they're like, "Oh, this is Sonja. She's a voice actor." And then you have to kind of Lionel Hutz yourself from The Simpsons and be like, "You might remember me from such animated
Yeah.
classics as what are the ones
Yeah.
you usually bring up besides Arthur's mom? I'm sure that's like on your Mount Rushmore."
Well, over more than 30 years, it's hard to nail down. I really enjoyed doing Spookley the Square Pumpkin because
Yes.
Spookley was he was a really timid kind of little guy and sort of shy because he was supposed to be around, but he was square. And I had a lot of music I was able to do. We had Jeff Zahn from New York. You might be familiar with him from
Uh-oh. Yeah, yeah. Go
Sesame
ahead.
Street, Cats, the Broadway show, which he did for years and years and years. And he was writing a lot of the music. So it was fun to be able to sing and do this sweet little character that I thought was kind of charming. So yeah, I would say Spookley sticks out in my mind quite a bit.
Oh, that's lovely.
Mm.
Spookley was definitely. Oh, he's in my head. Cool. No, I need to get better at this set. I need to get better at this setup thing. We have new tech where we could show pictures, which is great because we got to show
Oh
that
yeah.
awesome cosplayer of Speedy before and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh, this is fucking great. Sorry for swearing, everybody, but this is just like you're
I
talking.
never say it. No.
You're talking to this inner 9-year-old that's so happy about that stuff. Can you do me a favor, actually? Considering
Sure.
you still rock this Arthur's mom's voice, I thought it would be pretty cool. Considering Nadia is such a nice person, such a sweet person. As Arthur's mom, can you give Nadia a little shout out?
Hey, Nadia, it's so nice that you joined us for the show. And please come back again, okay? Bye.
Yes, amazing. We're making history here. We're making dreams come true and all that kind of stuff. Oh,
Sweet,
oh man.
sweet.
Oh, all this
Nice to
time.
be here. And
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
really, really, because as voiceover actors, we're behind the scenes people, and here you are kind of hauling us up front, and letting the people get to know who are the voices and the people behind these different characters. I think it's really wonderful that you do this.
Oh well, thank you so much. And as that lovely praise you gave me actually allowed me to check the chat here. My friend Benoit, great dude.
Yeah.
What's he like we all audition for stuff like that, and you can answer this if you like to, but and I can tell you mine. I could tell you a character that I tried out for and I didn't get, but that's his question. It's like, did you try out for a character that kind of slipped through your fingers and you kind of wish you would have got it?
Oh, sure. Jesus, yes, yes. But that's every actor alive. You don't get every role you audition for, right? So you go in there and you do the absolute best that you can. You give 150% of yourself and you hope like hell that it works. Sometimes you go in and you think you did a really shitty audition and you end up getting the part. Or sometimes you go in there and you think, yes, I nailed it. I rock. Okay, good. No problem. I think I got this. You get home and you never got a call back. Forget it. Or sometimes you'll get a call back and you got to re-audition with another 2, 3 people. And sometimes you'll get it and sometimes you won't. There's been so many. Look, we're talking about a career that spanned over 30 years, and I don't even recall. But sure, it's bound to happen, and you don't take it personal, because it's hit or miss. You never know. There might be 100 girls going in for the same role, so you roll with the flow of things, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's
Yeah.
okay. Benoit also had a really Rocky, my buddy Rocky Buckland, super super helpful on this show. And by the way, my friend Liz is watching, and I'm wearing her shirt, her company. This is Bucket List music reviews. If you want to listen, know what bands you should be really listening to. This show is not brought to you by Bucket List, but they are buddies. And it's a fantastic website. So sorry for the plug. I just,
Oh,
we all gotta
it's a
support each other.
fantastic shirt.
We all gotta
It's a
support each other.
fantastic shirt.
I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, I love it.
what's an amazing colorful shirt that has a kitty on it? And it was Bucket List all the way. My buddy Rocky Buckland's asking a question. What was the most unusual direction you ever received while recording?
Oh, well, I remember there's been many times where sometimes you're asked to be, let's say, a tomboy, but don't lower your voice too much, not too much rasp, keep it intelligent, but as young as possible. Like mixed direction where you're going, oh Jesus, now how do I get through that maze of wants? And that happens a fair bit, especially now when we audition. We're doing auditions mostly a lot of times just on the cell phone, or like I'll do it on my iPad and send it in, so you're not present with the director. Because what's nice about the old days is you were called into audition with the director in the room and he knew what he wanted. So he'd say to you, okay, no, a little bit more this way, a little bit more that way. We don't have that interaction with the voice director anymore. You're sent maybe 2 or 3 pages, 2 or 3 lines, I should say, description of the character. And then you hope like hell that when you record it and send it in, it's somewhere in the ballpark of what they're looking for, because it can always be tweaked. And I do kind of miss those days of being able to nail what the director's looking for because he's right there in the room with you. We don't have that anymore. So it's hit or miss, you know.
My buddy Marlon was asking, what do you think of what do you think of the new generation of voice actors? You know, the people that like kind of never got to go into the room and like feel this out. You know, like what do you think of the current voice actors and all that kind of stuff?
Well, current, I mean, I work with some of them even now, and there's a lot of talent out there, and they're doing a great job. It is a whole different, a little bit different system now where we're not all in the same room, like we talked about earlier. So for them, I don't know how they feel. I never asked them how they feel about it. I guess they're just used to it because that's all they know or they've known. So I think there's a tremendous amount of young talent out there, and I respect them immensely.
Okay, we're getting some questions on YouTube now. See, that's what I mean. One man operation. Every time I cut to her, I'm like an octopus. I'm like,
yeah, Ryan, man. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any advice? This is D Man Funk 88 says, do you have any advice? Do you what advice would you impart on the young and upcoming voice actors? You know, you work with them. Do you Jedi master any of them, or they're like, Sonja, you wear a pizza cat. Tell us what to do.
Oh, well, I have coached some young actors, and it's fun to do. I would say, don't be afraid to go over the top, because the director can always pull you back. But if he doesn't have enough to work with, that's another story. So never be afraid to go over the top, because they can always pull you back. Listen to your favorite voices. Don't be ashamed or afraid to imitate, because that becomes just part of your toolbox of sounds that you can access for different characters you might be asked to do. There's no shame in it. What else? Use your imagination. Don't be afraid when you're in studio to physically get into the lines as they're delivered, because sometimes doing that helps give the voice the power or the impetus that it needs. And work at this. Listen to yourself over and over again. Get yourself a good agent. Yeah, get in on those auditions. You'll learn from the auditions themselves. Although, like I say, most of the time now, people do it at home on the iPad. I miss the old days for that. But so, and don't be shy. Don't be shy. You can't do animation or voiceover work and be timid.
Yeah.
It won't work. It won't work. So just bust right out of yourself. Explore there are no limits. As human beings, we forget we have a physical body. One day we won't be here. But while we're here, we have like limitless potential. Explore your potential. Don't be shy. Let it rip.
Everybody was wondering like why I keep looking in this direction. It's because that's where her monitor is, and she's coming in, and we're making eye contact, even though I wear my sunglasses at night, or in this case, in the day. Someone asked, they're like, why are our hats being worn? It's like, because it's a pandemic. Like, what are we supposed to do?
No, hey guys, I'm just covering really bad hair day.
Yeah. No, it's because you're cool. I was told caps make you cool.
Oh.
I was told by my mom that this jacket and these sunglasses are the coolest thing she's ever seen.
Yeah,
so
you look.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I look loud and proud. All right. You know what? I believe that's almost the end of the day, because I can't take up all your time. We've been going for a while, and you have just been so generous with your time. I would like to put this little thought into the world. Someone asked if you do a lot of conventions. I'm like, I would love to see you, Terrence, and Rick kind of like do a live reading of some kind at a Comic-Con whenever life presumes and all that kind of stuff. That'd be so fun.
Boy, I tell you, you put that out there, Ryan, because we would have a blast. I would absolutely love it. Getting together with those guys is always a blast. I would do that in a heartbeat. Great idea.
I would love to also, somehow, someday, get a hold of Terrence and Rick. But you are Iron Man 1. You know what I mean? We'll get the whole Avengers, but so far we started with our Pizza Cats journey on a strong note to build a franchise around. You know? Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
thank you so much, hey, Ryan. Yeah, those guys are a little bit more the behind the scenes kind of guys. And so I guess, but maybe in the future down the line, Ryan. And you know who would be fun to talk to is Dean Hagopian.
Okay.
Dean, Big Cheese. Yeah, Dean is a hoot. Great guy.
Oh,
He
I
was
would
a
love to.
radio DJ, Montreal radio DJ for years, done movies, just great fun to talk to. He's a hoot.
Okay. The last thing I'll ask you to do today, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep putting these things on you. We're like, give a shout out, give a shout out, use your money maker, please. But had this person not been like such an important part of my life, I would not ask this. But could polyester, the one and only polyester, please, 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 as I bring up the picture, this is going to be a little bit of a funny picture. This is a picture of you and your action figure. You're an action figure, Sonia. That's amazing.
Yeah, I heard they did the action figures. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
Yeah.
we have a picture of the action figure right here and a picture of the actual Polly looking very aghast that it exists. So if you don't mind, could you please, as Polly, give a shout out to one of my best friends of God, almost 30 years, Marlon. That would
Marlon.
that would be lovely.
Hey, Marlon, how's it going? Really nice to hear about you. I know Ryan thinks a lot of you. It's fun being a Samurai Pizza Cat. We wish you all the very best for 2020, COVID or no COVID. Hang in, man.
Ah, that's lovely. I like how you made it topical too. Uh,
Yeah, well, this period is going to go down in history as one of the weirdest.
yeah, it really is. But at the same time, we connected. So like when I think of COVID and I think of all the sadness, I'm a glass half full type guy. So at least at the end of the day, I've spent the last few weeks interviewing some incredible people, including a lot of voice actors, like such as you, Tuxedo Mask, a good guy named David Kay. He was on one of the first attempts we ever did at a live show. All here because of this. And it was almost like a pressure cooker of, if you're going to be inside and you have nothing to do more than you would have had this not been happening. Grow, do something, grow,
Yeah.
learn
Yo,
something.
that sounds good.
Yeah. So as a result, it's been an incredible few shows. Next week, Wednesday, we will not be going live, but we will be, and I'm not sure if you've ever seen this show, Sonia, or not, but we will be finally putting up our special reunion with the actors of the show Radioactive next Wednesday. Well, this coming Wednesday, so in a few days. So all you, me, and YTV fans out there who've been clamoring for this, we need we need a week off of live shows, so it's a great time to start with our original format. Sonia, this has been incredible. Did you have a good time today?
I did. I had a riot. Thanks a lot, Brian. All the
This
best.
has been absolutely lovely. This couldn't have gone better. Uh, well, you wise, me wise, I'm a mess, but you're awesome, Sonia. Where can
So are
people
you.
where can people find you? Where can people find you online if they're fans of you and they want to reach out and say like, dude, you are awesome at
Oh, I'll have a comment section on my website, www.sonjaball.com. It needs some updating, that site, but there I am. There's some interviews with some gaming stuff I did. There's Pinocchio 3000. There's a link to some cartoon stuff. You can leave your comments there. So, hey, everybody, hang in, and much love and peace to all.
Awesome. All right, everyone, have yourselves a good week. We will be premiering the episode in the comments and all that live, the radioactive episode. So I'm still going to be around in the comments. So like, if you want to geek out about the show, totally. Sonia, would you ever come back on the show if we reach out to other Samurai Pizza Cats, stuff like that? We have ourselves like a little reunion before we can go outside and kind of stuff like that.
Absolutely. That'd be a hoot anytime.
Awesome. Amazing. You heard it here, everybody. So like, share, subscribe, all that. On our end, please follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram action could use a little bit of muscle. So that's at you, me, and YTV. Same thing with Twitter. And thank you very much for watching here, everybody. That's awesome. You guys make the show. It's you, me, and YTV. You know, it's all three of us. If it's not two of us, it's everyone. So thanks for making a terrible time amazing, both to you, the audience, and to Sonja here. This has been awesome. We will see you.
The audience.
We will see you soon. Bye, everyone.